Back in May, I uploaded a video of an idea I have wanted to cover for a while now, community map reviews, because community maps, especially in Team Fortress 2, do not get nearly enough attention from the players and Valve themselves. So this series is designed to bring to light some of the greatest and underrated maps in Team Fortress 2, poke fun at some of the worst, discuss improvements in gameplay, and see if some of the most popular community maps in Team Fortress 2 are even worth the hype or not. In the first video, you guys made it clear that you would like to see more of this idea, and recommended quite a few maps for me to take a look at for the series. So, by popular request, here we are, taking a look at another community map, and this time it's not a reimagining, but a whole new concept from the ground up. We are looking at Dominate_Cliffhanger. A few of you guys recommended this one to me, and while I had seen it floating around the community workshop before, I never really gave it a shot because from the thumbnail it looked far too small for my growing server, and, well, I was wrong. This map is definitely not small. See that? That tiny thing is an industrial-sized dump truck. Here's a scout for scale.
Such a tiny scout!
It's got a lot going for it. The first thing you see when you join the game is an overhead spectator view of not one, but what looks like 2 King of the Hill control points. You load into spawn and realize, oh, it's not 2 King of the Hill control points, it's 5! At this point, like many others, I'm sure you are confused, and even the map knows it. Right in spawn, you are greeted with a blackboard doing its best to explain this weird concept, and honestly doing a pretty good job, and keeping it short, sweet, and simple, and not having you spend excessive time in spawn trying to figure out how to play in your first session of the map. The concept of 5 control points itself becomes much less overwhelming when you realize it is just a regular game of King of the Hill, but each point you currently have makes your team's counter tick down faster. It's kinda like stand-in in a way. You multitask different control points to win. This might be a lot less frustrating though, because you don't need to capture all points to win instantaneously. There's lots of room for error and plenty of time to recover from a hard push from the enemy. The 5 different points also give you a lot of options on which to target at what time, and what kind of team coordination you're going to need. You could all focus on one point at a time while recapturing, or spread your focuses to hold onto other points that you currently have. The control points themselves, for the most part, are well placed, and it's easy to visually identify the path that you will need to take to get to them. That is, aside from the points directly under your base. If this is your first time playing, it might be difficult to get a grasp on the layout of the routes you will need to take to get to these points and protect them. They are also almost impossible to see from anywhere on the map, so you won't know who is currently attacking the points, or how many of them there are, you know, with scouts and items like the pain train. This makes it very difficult to know how to approach the point without just instantly walking right into your own death. These points, despite being right next to your spawn, are the hardest points to hold down. Keeping your engineer protected and approaching these points together is a must. On the plus side, if you do have an engineer set up here, he could potentially be guarding 2 points at once, as there is an amazing sightline on one of the center control points that a Wrangler engineer could easily make use of. Keep in mind though, that this amazing sightline works both ways. You don't want to be caught off guard by a soldier, sniper, or other long-range destruction. Speaking of that, the other point is called the lookout, as in, look out, they have a pyro. Because if there's even one pyro near that point, you won't be capturing it. The pyro is completely broken by this, and by no means is it the fault of the map creator. This problem is just simply a result of Pyro's push force being far too much after Jungle Inferno. The Stunlock-esque air blast would not have been nearly as bad as just flying 50 feet in one direction directly into the void each and every time from just one air blast. To make it worse, the pyro can push you into almost any direction, and because this point is so far over the side of a cliff, you will almost always fall off regardless of where you are relative to the pyro. Even if he pushes you back away from the cliff, there is still a huge area on both sides underneath for you to fall off of. The one saving grace being that the main control point is right next to this area, so if your team captures that first, it's only natural for all of them to immediately move on to the next point and overwhelm the pyro, but if you're thinking of backcapping this point, it's just not gonna happen. The control point in the back of the map is like the intel room in Capture the Flag Well. It's absolutely huge, but with some really bad spam-friendly catwalks. Make sure you have a couple classes with high mobility to help jump to those catwalks and protect the rest of the cappers. It's not a bad control point, but if you know Capture the Flag well, you know exactly how this point's going to play out. Lastly, we covered the mid control point, which in terms of King of the Hill is surprisingly standard, but in the best of ways. It has the perfect ratio of cover to sight lines, it's got a good variety of ways to approach it, and it will most likely be the most active and chaotic point at any given time because it's right in the middle of everything, so it is absolutely necessary that it is as well balanced as it is, and I think the map creator pulled it off pretty perfectly. Lastly, let's talk about design. My favorite thing about this map is that eerie and unsettling atmosphere about it, while still never feeling claustrophobic, but striking a great balance of not being so large that the map is just a mess and confusing, and not being too small that it feels like you can't go anywhere. It honestly doesn't even look like it belongs in this game. The style is so unique that visually there really are no other maps to compare it to, and that by no means is a negative thing about this map. The lighting itself in the map is very warm and almost calming in a weird way, without being oversaturated or in bad contrast to the dark sky, and almost neon lightning strikes. This map could be iconic, instantly recognizable by any screenshot, especially with that skybox in the background, and oh my god, what a cool effect for the skybox. I have no idea what the structure itself is supposed to be other than some sort of communications center built aside of one of the most dangerous mountainsides I have ever seen. So would I change anything about this map? Well, maybe add a couple of signs that better direct players to the lower points, and as for the lookout point, I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem with the way Pyro is. So no, I wouldn't change much about that aside from just a couple of signs here and there. Would I want this map officially added to the game though?
Heck yes!
This map is not only unique and fun, but it actually isn't that hard to understand for new players after the first round, or hell, even after the first 2 minutes of gameplay. Like I said, this could be an iconic map, and I do hope that Valve adds this to the game because this could actually become a favorite map of mine. It's that good. Sure, it has a couple of issues, but significantly less than most official maps, keep in mind. Let's give this criminally underrated map some love. Links will be below in the description to the workshop page where you can support and download it yourself. And to my server's Discord because I am adding this to my personal server's map rotation. You guys have convinced me. I love this map. It's awesome. Do you guys have any more suggestions for maps to review? Leave them in the comments section below. Let me know what you think of this video as a series, and it's still new so I'm looking to make improvements, and I hope you enjoyed. Remember to hit the notification bell if you haven't already because YouTube kind of screwed up the subscriber notifications. In fact, even if you're not interested in my server, go to the Discord, because that's probably a more reliable way of finding out when new videos come out. And lastly, before we go real quick, did you guys know that I am named Ace the Ocarina Maker for a reason? I actually do make and sell handmade ocarinas. I've recently opened an Etsy store, and I will leave a link in the description below if you guys would like to check that out. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. And if you guys would like to see what this map is like with a full server playing on it, check out our gameplay video. Link will be in the description and at the end card of this video. That's all for now, boy!